All right, good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
It is Friday all day long here at DragonCon 2024. Welcome to the first edition of The Late Show. There are people in this room. Oh my goodness, how did that happen?
You're up so early, surely just for us.
Wow, and yay. And the us includes myself, Brian. Steven's back. Hey!
I am back. You may recognize me from not last year because I tried to escape but got pulled back in.
Well, I'm glad you didn't resist the pull too much. It
Yes.
hurts the nails a lot. So,
I just got them done.
And for the first time on our stage, meet Ray.
Woo!
Ray
Hello,
has been
everybody.
in many of our DragonConTV pieces over the years and has been doing Solve for X on the science track for a hot minute there. So thank you for that, and welcome as one of our co-hosts.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here and awake this early. I didn't know DragonCon existed before 10 a.m.
We're still not sure about it ourselves. So today on the show, we're going to warm you up with a little bit of information about stuff that's off the beaten path a little bit from DragonCon. We know all about the main track events, the stuff you line up for, but what are the things you should be lining up for? We're going to talk a little bit about authors today. So we have A.J. Hartley as a DragonCon Award nominee, who will talk about his book, and then later we have Jack Monkey from the the makeup department head at Netherworld here in Atlanta.
But first, let's get you those important updates and information for the day.
Okay, I'm very excited I get to announce this. We have NASA this year. Now, I have to explain, we've had people from NASA this year, or past years, and they always have to say, now I'm not speaking for NASA, but this time we have actual NASA people here officially who can say, I am here and talking about NASA. And also, just as a little treat, we have an astronaut. So it's pretty cool. This is going to be kicking off starting at 10 a.m. So those of you who are watching us in your hotel room, put your shoes on and get ready to run. We have the agency's chief technologist, A.C. Chernia, and Marshall Space Flight Center's chief technologist has been in that job for about 3 months and is awesome, Les Johnson. They'll be talking about what is the job of like a chief technologist for? What areas do you work in? How does the science happen? Was moonfall actually correct? Please ask them that one.
And then late today, Katie Coleman, who is a veteran of 2 space shuttle flights and 156 days on the ISS, but who is currently on Earth. She's going to tell us about her adventures. She flew on Russian rockets, she launched the Chandra Space Telescope, and she played a duet on flute with Ian Anderson of Jethro Tull fame while in space.
What?
Yes, if you're going to do a flute duet from space, I guess it needs to be with Jethro Tull. As I recall, Grammy award-winning for metal Jethro Tull.
Yes. Beat out Metallica one year. That's a fun trivia fact.
That'll help you for your next pub quiz.
Yeah. Just actual NASA. Like, why talk about pretending to be in space when they could actually tell you that you can't hear any of that nonsense? Like, what? The only sound in space is you playing the flute.
Playing the flute.
Just if I was on the ISS and heard a flute, I'm like, this is the first act in a Bleecker Street movie, right? Like, I shouldn't be hearing that.
I feel like of all instruments, flute is one of the least aggressive to play on the ISS. Like, you don't want to do a bagpipe duet up there, I don't think.
I brought my recorder.
We said no drones in the ISS. We meant 2 things.
That's a very different one.
All right, well, why don't we go from space to puppetry?
Yeah, I like how we were talking about space, but mostly flutes. So it feels on
transition
brand.
from that? Oh, pigs
Yes.
in space. Now let's talk about puppetry.
Love it. All right, so I also love that I get to announce the Ultimate Puppet Ninja Warrior, which are 4 words I never thought I would say together. Do you want to join a team of 2 other potential legends and get coached in a 3-person tabletop puppetry by a professional puppeteer? That's a lot of P's. Use teamwork and showmanship to navigate your puppet across our treacherous obstacle course.
Dun, dun, dun.
The judges, from Fraggle Rock back to the Rock, which will not be intimidating at all, will determine the winners. Basic training will start today, 11:30 a.m. in Hyatt Regency 6-7 in this very hotel.
Yep. And Michael Keane covered this event a few years ago, and we actually have a clip from that segment. All right, so that was fun. Like I said, we're just the warm-up act for the actual convention. Why don't we have AJ take a seat, and we'll talk to our first guest. Please welcome AJ Hartley, who's nominated for a Dragon Award for his novel, Hideki Smith, Demon Queller.
Thank you.
Hold up that novel.
Yeah. Show
Also,
us that beautiful book footage. Oh,
beautiful.
look at that.
Is my microphone on?
Yeah.
I feel like a massive underachiever after hearing about the astronaut flute playing whatever the hell. So,
This is really just, DragonCon is like an event that's designed to both inflate and crush your ego at varying times over about 4 days. Because you're like, I was ready for this, and then you see someone else's cosplay, you're like, I was not ready for this. Anyway, so thanks for coming to DragonCon. Congratulations on the award nomination. But while you're an accomplished novelist, this novel is special thanks to your co-authors.
that's right, yes. I wrote this with my family. This is a story. It's called Hideki Smith, Demon Queller. And it's a story about a mixed race family, a British white father, a Japanese American mother, and a mixed race son. Mm-hmm. Modeled on my own family, and my family were co-authors on the book. So,
nice.
Yeah. As I say, they're battling monsters from Japanese folklore in the mountains of North Carolina, as you do.
As you do.
Yeah. Where else are you going to hide out?
I used to have I used to ski in Boone, and I don't remember that part.
Oh, trust me, they're there.
They must not have been on the green slopes. Okay.
Yep. Congratulations on your nomination, by the way. Your second for the Dragon Award?
Yes, I was nominated about 8 years ago for a book called Steeplejack in the category that was won by Terry Pratchett for his last book.
Again, inflate your ego and crush it. So hopefully it's good to be nominated again. Maybe not against Sir Terry Pratchett.
Yes, indeed. There are a few good things to come out of Terry Pratchett's death, but this is one of them.
I was not expecting that. Wow. Good morning, everyone.
I'm a huge Terry Pratchett fan, so yeah.
So the story explores themes of mixed cultural identity. How did you ensure that you approached that authentically?
I used to live in Japan, and obviously I've been married to a Japanese American for the last 35 years. So in a way, this is a book that has literally taken decades to produce and emerged out of a lot of conversation. The first time we took my son to Japan, and he was about 12, and he absolutely loved it. And he had never been interested in manga or anime or all the crazy Japanese music that I listened to. But he kept saying he wanted to go back, want to go back, want to go back. And I was like, why? What's the issue? And he said, oh, I really like the food. I'm like, dude, we don't have to fly across the Pacific for Japanese food.
Yeah.
And he went really quiet. And he said, it's nice to be somewhere where everybody looks like me. Mm. And that was sort of my way into this book, because I had been trying to write a version of my experience in Japan in which I sort of centered myself, but it never felt right. Mm-hmm. So I thought, well, okay, so that's what this story is going to be. It's about his experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. Obviously within a supernatural frame, but
mm-hmm.
yeah.
Well, obviously. I mean, I used to travel to Japan for business like a ton, and it was interesting for me because the first time I landed there, I didn't I had some background in the culture from anime and everything else. And the thing that got me was it was the first time in my adult life I'd been functionally illiterate. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And almost nobody looked like me. Yeah. And I was going in the 90s when, we didn't have quite as much of a expat sort of culture.
Yeah.
So how much of that you find flows into the way that you look at flipping cultures going between you and your family?
Yeah, I mean, when I was there in the 80s, so pre-internet, mm-hmm. and I had always thought I was okay at languages and that I would just absorb it by being there. Yeah. And then, of course, as you say, you are absolutely, completely illiterate, and none of the street signs mean anything, none of the hoardings, or the advertising, all the things that you use to absorb little bits of language. So it was a completely sort of alienating experience, and at the time I was one of maybe a dozen foreigners in the entire city where I lived, because It's very different now.
Yeah.
So that sense of being somewhere where I clearly didn't belong and where I was conspicuous.
Yeah.
So I sort of experienced it in reverse, the opposite of what I mean, it's a different experience, you know,
Yeah.
but that always informed the way I thought about these kind of things. Yeah.
So I hear you're a music enthusiast and have a bit of a YouTube channel.
It is a bit of a YouTube channel, yes. I do. I've always been a music head. In one of my other hats, I write with Tom DeLonge of Blink-182. We have a series of novels that we do together. But most of the music on my YouTube channel is Japanese rock music.
Oh, so cool. Are there any music acts you're really looking forward to at DragonCon at all?
To be honest, I'm so busy that I never get to sort of see any of the bands who are playing. Last year, Baby Metal were playing in Atlanta during DragonCon.
Oh.
What?
So I had to sort of skip up the road and go to that. I've been lobbying for a few years to get Dragon to bring Atarashi Gakko here, who I think would be fantastic, but maybe one year.
Amazing. So, who would you want to interview besides, you know, obviously the Jethro Tull Space Flute duet
Yeah.
And Terry Pratchett.
and Terry Pratchett? Yes.
Who would I like to interview?
Yeah.
It's a good question. Ursula Le Guin of the Earthsea trilogy and things like that. And if we're allowed to interview people who are dead, then Tolkien. I'm a Shakespeare professor by trade, so you know, we'll add him to the list as well, and Baby Metal.
Yeah.
Baby metal.
that Tolkien interview is going to be so long on a Ouija board because it's just going to take forever. Like, he's still talking about the doorknob. Like, what are we doing?
Well, he's going to do it in Elvish. So.
So if I want a signed copy of that beautiful book, where do I go to get one?
There are a number of signings. There is one this evening at 7 o'clock. I would read this to you.
Yes,
but it's
7 at the
too
Westin
small.
Overlook, I believe.
Yeah.
I know the answer
Thank
to
you
my own
very
question.
much. Okay,
You're
yes,
welcome.
7 at the Westin Overlook. And I have a scheduled signing at the Missing Volume on Saturday lunchtime and at the Fantasy Gather this evening as well, but I'll be there late because I'm on a panel.
Awesome.
So, you've been coming to DragonCon once or twice.
The early 14th century, I think, yeah.
Yes. Any favorite memories from the con, or a fun little story as a treat?
One day I had my badge on, I got into the elevator, and somebody turned around and was like, "Oh, you're a guest." And they looked at it closely and then said, "But I've never heard of you. You must be a writer."
Okay.
Amazing. Amazing.
Thank
Well,
you for
now they will
sharing
have
that
heard of you.
Special memory with us. And we're going to end on that ego raise with an ego crush. Oh my goodness.
They will
Well,
have heard of you now, obviously, having been on the most important show on DragonConTV.
Yes, yes, of course.
The Alan Tudyk opening act.
Yes. We are the opening
That's
act.
how I'm going to introduce myself from here on.
Yes. All right. Well, AJ, thank you for coming on the show. Once more, a round of applause for AJ Hartley. Thank you.
And please vote if you haven't done already.
All right, we're going to go to another segment. Let's see how this goes. Michael Caine is just running loose at this convention. If you see him, stay behind the camera. You're about to find out why in this short segment that we highlighted from a longer segment available on our YouTube channel. Are we not? Okay, so good news, we have a YouTube channel. Bad news, whatever I was supposed to tell you about in the script, it's on there. So this is just an awkward ploy to get me to plug the YouTube channel a couple more times. That's youtube.com/DragonConTV. Also the Ninja Puppet Warrior, Ultimate Ninja Puppet Warrior. Give it the respect. There is a much longer segment of that entire thing on the YouTube page as well. Kind of incredible stuff. It sounds ridiculous at first, and it is, but not in the way you think it is. But it's actually an achievement if anybody ever gets that nonsense to work. All right. Let's bring up our next guest. So we're going to welcome Bethany Michelle, who's also known as Jack Monkey. So let's bring Jack up on stage. All right, you may not have seen Jack, but you've seen Jack's work. If you've ever been to Netherworld, Jack is the makeup department head for that haunt right here in the state of Georgia. Jack, welcome to the stage. How you doing?
I'm doing great. I may not have a voice this morning. I don't know if anybody else is in that same group as me.
Yeah, you can get a little closer to the mic. These are presence microphones. Presence.
Well, Jack, tell us, other than it being Atlanta's hottest haunted house, what is Netherworld?
So Netherworld Haunted House, we moved a couple years ago to a new location in Stone Mountain. We have multiple haunts. We have an outdoor midway. We have a lot of food trucks. We have a lot of amazing, crazy, creepy, gross, and wonderful actors and employees who work there.
So, how did you get to be one of the leads at this? Like, did you have to slay somebody to take their position? How does advancement work in the Netherworld?
Not by drinking from the skull of your enemies, I promise. So there's a lovely gentleman that some people in the audience may know by the name of Roy Woolley. And he used to be the makeup department head, and in 2021 he stepped down, and I stepped in. And I was kind of his assistant for a couple of years before that, and then, I kind of took it over.
So how did you get interested in doing ooky spooky makeup?
Ooh, that's a very convoluted trail. That is not a straightforward thing. I started doing special effects makeup in 2010, actually working for the federal government and the DIA.
What? Sorry, what?
I was not ready for this origin
More
story.
tax dollars at work, everybody.
This took a plot twist.
Right? Everyone, left-hand turn. So in the government and in the military and stuff like that, we have medical professionals. They need training. They need real-world training. They need very realistic body horror, body mutilation, moulage level of training. And I started doing that. And kind of went from there. I still actually work with the U.S. Army, so I actually did work with them earlier this year. And in 2014, I moved to Atlanta and then strangely may have done your makeup
Apparently.
at a haunted house that was known as Chambers of Horror,
Oh,
which
yeah.
is a lovely, lovely, will always have a soft spot in my heart for this little podunk, very...
It was a weird place,
it was
y'all.
a weird place. There are things I would love to describe to you, but I can't because I don't know
Like,
ages.
yeah, we would be arrested for talking about that haunted house. It was a weird place.
Weird, but it was great.
I'm still trying to make the pivot
I
back
feel like
from
we
the
just-
military thing.
I have a new career goal, which is to be like,
I mean, of all the ways the
Horror
military could
artist
make
fed.
realistic footage and applique for their medical doctors, that's the best way to do it?
Yeah, I was not prepared for Tennessee Body Farm, the show, was your career. Amazing. So you've also done, not just, I guess, federal makeup and haunted houses, but you've also done movies, TV shows, Crimson Cove, a little-known cult hit called The Walking Dead. Tell us about that experience.
Crimson Cove was lovely. We actually filmed earlier this year in January when a hurricane was about to come through, so that was fun. Love filming with indie sets. There's a lot of flexibility and there's a lot of creativity because it's a very small budget. So it's like, what can you do for a very small amount of money? Working on The Walking Dead was amazing. I was very fortunate to be asked on for a few episodes and got to make some amazing walkers and work with some amazing stunt people and actors. and be really, really grossly hot and sweaty and disgusting out in the backwoods of Sonoya, Georgia.
Yeah.
Fully long sleeves, hats, because, ew, insects.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
The fun part about having The Walking Dead in Atlanta, because when I was still living here, was the traffic reports.
Yeah.
Because there was one morning on, like, the morning radio where they said, hey, if you go by the Cobb Energy Center and you see a bunch of people with rifles and hear gunfire, don't worry, it's just a television show. So ignore the horde of zombies where you normally see, like concerts. And I'm like, well, that's the thing is Atlanta's already desensitized to that. I don't even know why they need, oh, that's just zombies. Okay, fine, whatever. Look, we've had a guy with a spear on 285. This is nothing.
Yes.
So, like, once you've done this, like, you've got a lot of makeup experience. What's your favorite technique, your favorite applique? Like, is it latex? Is it like a prosthetic? Like, what's your kind of go-to thing? You're like, oh, it's my wheelhouse. I'm ready to play.
Honestly, my favorite things are like those very organic, kind of fleshy things. I also work with prop houses. There's a wonderful prop house run by a friend of mine by the name of Vulpin Props. Mm-hmm. And I do, he likes to joke that anytime they need something disgusting, fleshy, or organic in any shape, they call me. And so that's a lot of fun. I love kind of having that, like, I'm the goo girl.
I'm thinking of the business card now.
Yeah, you have the most
and
interesting
phrasing
resume.
it in the way that'll get you the correct clientele.
I have done panels before here at DragonCon. I'm not doing it this year, but I have done it in previous years. And I always called the panels, "Why am I sticky?"
Again, thinking of the business card, trying to get the right clientele. This is a morning show.
So obviously DragonCon is a hot spot for costuming. Do you have any hot tips for the cosplayers if they want to get into inspiring the federal government to, I suppose?
Would not recommend trying to go through the federal government. I would not recommend starting there. Tips that I could cover in the next 10 seconds.
No pressure.
Right, no pressure.
Speed round.
Hydrate, take care of your skin, take care of your body. And if you need to take it off, take it off.
Oh, boy.
And I mean that in the makeup way, not in the 2 a.m. bunny hutch dance kind of way.
No costume is no costume. All right, so you're going to be at the Zombie Makeovers event Friday, 4 p.m. in the Westin Chastain H Room. And we will love to see you there again. Jack Monkey, round of applause, everybody. All right. Apologies for the audio issues earlier. I promise you the segments are amazing. They're available on a YouTube channel. I'm going to say this not on a video that's currently on YouTube except for the live streaming that we're doing. Like and subscribe and hit that bell. God,
Nicely done.
Thank you very much.
You're ready
All
for
right.
Twitch.
All right, a couple of announcements. Stephen, you've got some alternate history to talk about.
We do have alternate history to talk about. They have reformatted the popular Splendid Teapot Race into a kid-friendly version. So if you have a youngling with the heart of a racer and thumbs of steel, shin guards optional, they are invited to join the first ever Racing Teapot Demi-Tasse League. In this, its first year, that will be happening this Saturday, 11:30 a.m. in the Cortland Grand Capitol Ballroom.
Another fun alternate history track event is that they are transforming the con into a slice of Regency life where you can mingle, dance, and compete to be crowned the most remarkable attendee and be our DragonCon. It's a brand new event. It's a mix of class where they're teaching a couple of dances, and then there is a dance, and then there is a contest that is their version of a Bridgerton ball. And they're hoping that it'll be popular enough to bring back for a few years. And that is the DragonCon Cotillion, Saturday, 4 p.m. in the Cortland Grand Capitol Ballroom.
So I assume Sunday on this show we'll be discussing what Lady Whistledown writes about it. I see my Bridgerton fans out there.
Yeah. Pinky's out is proper. All right. So, as you can tell from this morning, not everything goes the way you expect it to at DragonCon. So today's tip for our attendees is patience and flexibility. Everyone wants to go to everything all the time at this convention. Until the time machine works, if it was working, I'd come back and tell myself now. No, it isn't. So you might miss some things you really wanted to see. I'm sorry about that. We just put too much con in our con. So be flexible and be gracious to everyone who wants to get into the thing that you want to get into, because we all want to do the things. Again, not everything goes well, but as a part of grace, make sure that everyone around you has a chance to participate. Some of us are more able than others at this convention. We put this damn thing on a hilly city, and we have a lot of people here who are future cyborgs and are trying out the wheeled apparatus of the future. Since AI's, I don't know where AI is going to go, so all the future cyborgs who are rolling around this convention, show them some grace, because in a couple of years, when Alexa takes over, you want to be friends with them. Take the stairs if you can, so the elevators are free. Hydrate, schedule well, and take the opportunities that present themselves when you least expect it, like apologizing for clips, because we're still shaking out the kinks of this thing. We got the hotel a little later than we liked. DragonCon, it is great to see your smiling faces back. We will see them again on Saturday. I will be off doing a parade on a completely different TV network, but I think my friends here are going to be helping cover for part of that. You're going to see the three of us. You're going to see the three of us and other hosts on this Very Here morning show, so tune in 9 a.m. Saturday, Sunday, and Monday for the latest news you can use. And for Ray and Steven, my name is Brian, and we will see you if you don't see us. Have fun.